Continue. Not
We
Yeah,
can
we
start,
can
Rajendra.
continue. We started the recording. Yeah.
okay. First of all, thanks everyone for joining this session and happy weekend. So in this session, I'm going to cover couple of agenda items. One is like deep dive and the into Sitecore features, and another one is migration strategy for user data and their preferences, and third one is like a walkthrough on the Sitecore API integration and heads up on upcoming AI stream usage in Sitecore CDP and Sitecore search. In this session, I am going to cover most of the live scenarios where you will understand the usage of Sitecore CDP, and there I'll walk you through walk you through the Sitecore CDP instance from where you will get to know the practical usage of the Sitecore CDP. Let me remove some boring stuff from this presentation and let me jump into the Sitecore CDP instance where I can explain you the Sitecore features and the usage of the features that Sitecore CDP provides us out of the box. So very first screen you will see upon logging to the Sitecore CDP, that is site analytics, where you will see the overview of guest, average time spent on the site, and the number of session the site has captured. And there are several graphical representation you will see, and those are out of the box Sitecore CDP generates, and nothing to do as such, but this is all for presentation purposes. And some information also will get categorized by browser, operating system, top countries, sources, like that. So I'm not going to spend much time on this because this is system generated reports. Okay, it's all about get the overview of the site analytics. Second area I'm going to touch upon, that is guest. Upon clicking on a guest, very first screen you will see that is all guests will listed, and out of all guests, how much type of guest recorded under customer category, how much recorded under visitor category. That overview you will get on the screen. And upon clicking on any particular guest reference ID, you will see the overview of guests. In the overview of guest, you have one tab for um, graphical representation, where you will see how many activities user has done throughout the day, and the how much channel that customer has used to browse our websites. And there are few areas also, for example segments, which segments used to record this particular guest, and so on. Segment and other details I'm going to cover in next couple of minutes. So just I would like to give you overview of the architecture of the Sitecore CDP, so that you will get familiar with the terms and the methodologies that Sitecore CDP is using in order to record the Sitecore guest information. So along with the overview, there are few other tabs as well. Timeline will help us to track the user activities, on which date and on which browser this activity is reported. And if you are talking about the Sitecore commerce or non-Sitecore commerce application, then you may come across abandoned card or few other things also, right? Those will be listed here, and the pictorial representation would be readily available for the marketers to analyze that and take a decision in future. uh, say pretty similar thing is there with the event viewer. So event viewer also will give you the some details about like what and all event we captured for the particular user. For example, user has downloaded something from web application, and you would like to capture that that event somewhere in the Sitecore CDP against that guest. Then that a particular event will be associated with the guest, and that will be listed in this event viewer tab. And finally, I'm touching upon properties. This is very important area where we will see the information about the guest. So some basic steps or basic information you see on the screen, that is title, full name, gender, nationality, date of birth, like this. This information needs to be populated when we want to insert the guest initially. Okay, either you can migrate the data from the legacy systems to the say Sitecore CDP. In that case also you need to fill this entity first, and along with this you can make an association of the custom properties as well. So I'm going to show you how to just bind the custom information with the customer, because here you see in the particular guest profile or the guest detail page you don't have any edit option available. The reason could be Sitecore CDP don't want to just take take a risk of messing up with the GDPR compliance or PI information. So that could be reason, that could be the reason that Sitecore CDP is not allowing us to update the record or alter the records directly from the Sitecore CDP. But using the side REST APIs we can update the information, and that supposed to be happen from the web application layer itself. Upon clicking on any particular event or upon clicking on any button, if you would like to capture some events, then that information should be associated with the guest, and that can be updated using the REST API. So before I jump into the REST API areas, I would like to discuss one a very important topic, that is migration. Because once we start working with the Sitecore CDP API, very first ask will come to us how to migrate the legacy data to the Sitecore CDP. So if you would like to migrate the data from your Sitecore XP instance, older version of the Sitecore XP instance, to the Sitecore CDP. In that case, XDB is the database from where we need to pull the information and push it into the Sitecore CDP. So for this activity, Sitecore has created their own tool to migrate the data from XDB to the Sitecore CDP. It's kind of lift and shift approach we need to apply, and yeah, our migration is done. But what if your data is stored somewhere in the other platform, or is somewhere in the other databases, for example, SQL, MongoDB, or a few other DynamoDB, something like that, right? In that case, Sitecore offers few set of APIs. I'll show you what are those. Yeah, we are calling it as a batch import APIs. So first API is to just create a pre-signed URL. You need to generate your own GUID in order to track the particular migration activity. And right after this, you will receive one pre-signed URL to just upload the file. And this is the another API that will help you to just process that particular batch. So here you see, like you need to attach the zip. Okay, and the zip should be followed by some hash algorithm manipulations, or some logic needs to be applied. And then further you need to create your JSON file, and there you need to put the each and every line item with proper format. Upon clicking or upon generating that file, you must have to zip that using one utility. That those instructions are written in the Sitecore CDP documentation. You can follow those, and then you can send the request to the Sitecore CDP server. Upon successful event of the upload, you will get to know, or you will get notified with the message saying like the migration or upload process is in progress. And behind the scene, Sitecore CDP will process that JSON file, and make sure like all the errors or the all the log at information for each and every records are captured somewhere. And that information also can be retrieved using the Sitecore CDP API. And if you would like to check the status right after upload, then just go to the check status API and just put your batch ID, whatever batch ID we generated in the first step, that you need to pass it, and then you will see the status of the batch. Okay, so there are some manual steps involved in this, but in order to just automate this, right, so you can create your own tool. So we did pretty similar thing. We did it for one of our customer, and I created one. Let me zoom in. Created one migration tool. Okay, this migration tool is all about just automate the migration process. And the beauty of this tool is just connect with any legacy system. In our case, we connected to the Microsoft SQL database, and from there we pull the information. In first step, we pulled all the users and uploaded into the Sitecore CDP using this tool. So earlier I showed you that Sitecore also came up with some set of APIs, and by using those APIs, we created our own migration tool. Okay, within a few clicks, you can migrate entire set of information. In our case, 50K plus users we migrated successfully using this migration tool. And the beauty of this migration tool is this tool can be rerun multiple times, and audit log mechanism is also available. Anytime you can revisit to a particular folder and you can retrieve the logs and check what went wrong in the process. And if you feel like something went wrong and few records are unprocessed, in that case you can rerun the tool as well. So there are a couple of features we introduce. For example, delete the users. Upon clicking on the delete users button, whatever records you would like to delete it from the Sitecore CDP, that those set of records will be deleted. Basically, this feature is not available with the Sitecore CDP. Only one record can be deleted at a time, and that option is readily available with the Sitecore CDP UI. So yeah, adding some flexibility further, we added a few couple of options, that is batch process status. For example, you have started migration around 9 a.m. and if is taking longer, and after 1 hour you would like to revisit the migration tool and check the status, and then you can come to this tool and just click on the batch process status. It will help you the actual status of the migration process. So in past, whatever implementation we did for one of the customers, there we used this tool, and we successfully migrated 50K records within a 1 hour. So this is the success story of this migration tool. I am going back to the earlier screen and show you a few other stuffs inside core CDP instance. Yeah, so after completion of the migration mm, site user data, you may come across another requirement, that is how to pull the user preferences into Sitecore system. You may not able to understand very quickly what is the use of the user preferences or something, because this use case may not be applicable for some of the customers. But I would like to share my experience that we applied and used this particular thing for one of the customers. So user preferences are basically, if you would like to store some additional information and want to make some association with the guest, then there is one concept called extension. Okay, Sitecore CDP allows us to create max 6 extensions, and each extensions can carry 100 properties. So 6 into 100, 600, max 600 properties can be stored again customer. It it's not necessary that you need to put the information in a proper format, but you can store that information using the JSON, and n number of object hierarchy you can mention. For example, if you would like to maintain the grandchild and child relation in one of the object, and you want to store it for a future references, then you can do it. Pretty similar thing, we did it for one of the customers. There we came across one requirement, that is 30 plus products were there in the Sitecore platform. Whenever I say like 38 products, it's not kind of commerce products. Those are kind of areas for their business. For example, ABC is the one business area, and user has opted for the particular ABC product, and customer wants to just add some preferences. Okay, if you customer has chosen some preferences from the preferences form, for saying like I would like to receive email notification on daily basis, I would like to receive notification on weekly basis or monthly basis, like that. And apart from this, customer willing to get some notification on mobile as well. In that case, customer can go to the user preferences first, user preferences page, and from there customer can give the consent to send the notification. Upon submission of that form, we will gather that information into Sitecore CDP, and that information will come and sit in the additional information section. As I said earlier, by default, Sitecore CDP captures a few basic information. Here you in the left side, you see in the basic information section, we have hardly five properties, but sometimes five properties are not enough to store some additional some information which is required for the business. In that case, we will go with the additional information section. But in order to store some additional information, you must have to deal with the extension. So let me jump into the postman, and I'll show you how to populate this information programmatically. Because as I said earlier, CDP is not allowing you to edit or alter or update any information directly from the Sitecore CDP UI. Then there is another alternative way, that is CDP APIs. Let me go back to the postman. Yeah, here you see like there is one API. We are calling it as a get guest by email. So in the Sitecore CDP system, you need to define some identifier. Okay, so n number of identifier can be defined. I'll show you how to define that identifier and what is the meaning of the identifier. So here you see like I have passed the email as a input, and I'm treating this, basically it means that I treated email as an identifier. That's the reason Sitecore CDP is recognize this particular word as a, and treating it as an email, and ultimately this particular guest record will be identified using this identifier. So I would like to retrieve some information from the CDP and make sure the record is present in the Sitecore CDP. This is the very first check we need to do before we update the information into Sitecore CDP. So in our case, as I mentioned earlier, we created one user preferences form, and we allowed user to fill that form first. Okay, if the records are already present, okay, then we are retrieving the records, and very first API where we integrated, that is retrieve the guest by email. This after looking into the response of this API, we will get to know that whether record is present in the Sitecore CDP or not. Here you see, after hitting this API, I get some details in the items array. It means that the record is present in the Sitecore CDP, and then further I can just deal with the other API, some set of APIs, and using those APIs I can update the information partially or create your own extension. Okay, in earlier I mentioned that Sitecore has the one feature, we called it as an extension. Basically, extension is for storing some additional information, and I'll show you how to create the extension. Upon receiving this information, second important step we are going to do, that is just update the extension. Basically means my intention is to just pass on some additional information and update the user preferences, because user has opt-in for updation and user wants to update the preferences by revisiting the user preferences page. So here you see, like if extension is not present, in that case I can create an extension. But in order to create the extension, whatever response I received from the earlier API, that from that response you need to read the URL, and you need to make use of that URL for the another API, and that will help you to update the extension. Here you see, till this um, yeah, this is the API URL I received from earlier API, and on top of that I added slash extension, and then I specified the extension object in the body. So yeah, coming to the earlier point that I mentioned and disclosed about custom inform, and I told you the use case about the custom information that can be stored. So we came across one requirement that we need to store some additional properties, and those are specific to the particular product, right? So here what we did is we named a particular attribute as like product one, and against that product attribute we store some custom information. So our instance our intention behind this product object structure is, we would like to store the information for per product, and that should not be splitted among multiple attributes. So what we did is we capture the information from the user preferences, and we created our own JSON object, and we store this JSON object as a value of this particular attribute. And you see, like this mapping of this attribute is kind of key value pair. Okay, this information would be present in the CDP with key value pair. You can pass this particular attribute name as a key, and you can retrieve this information. So this is for all about to create the extension and store the custom information. Now I'm coming to the another use case. What if you come across to update some partial information? Okay, so Sitecore CDP allows us to do some partial or patch update in the Sitecore CDP using one API. We are calling it as a guest and a patch API basically. So in the Sitecore CDP documentation, if you see, like they are calling it as a patch, and this patch API can be used to update the partial information. So earlier you see, like I passed one attribute and call it as an extension one, but in the second API I am not going to mention that in the body, but I have mentioned that in the URL. Basically it means that I would like to update the extension 3 with the specific details. Okay, so upon clicking on update preferences, okay, this API will get called, and we will update the user preferences. Earlier user has marked one of the property as like email notification false, but now if user wants to opt in for the email notification, that's the reason we are going to update this information. This is all about updating the information to the Sitecore CDP. But again, you may come across the use case. What if I want to retrieve information on the page load and populate the selection that user has already made? In that case, you need to call one API that is guest by email, and looking into the response you will get to know user is present or not. And if user is present, then just call one more API, that is get guest extension or retrieve the guest basically. Upon retrieval of the guest, you will again deal with this type of object. This is not user friendly object, but if you would like to integrate with the UI, then this object will um, help you to just manage it properly. For example, most of the modern JS libraries are offering one feature that is observable, right? If you would like to just make use of that observable concept in the rendering or the updation, then this object can be pushed into DOM directly, and whenever there is updates, automatically that object can be pulled it and send it back to the Sitecore CDP. It will work in that way. Yeah, this is all about retrieving the guest and updating the partial information and delete. Even there are some set of APIs which can be utilized for deleting the guest or just check the statuses and like that. Okay, let me go back to the Sitecore CDP UI and walk you through a couple of interesting areas where you will understand the segment and the significance of the segment, what is the purpose of the audience exports, and so many things. Okay, yeah. So coming back to the previous screen, sorry. Whatever view you see, that is for guest user, and already I told you that the additional information will come and sit in the additional information section. And after filling all this information, we will come to the segments. uh, Let me click on the batch segments. Upon clicking on the segments, one dashboard will comes up, and in the dashboard, whatever segments you created and the status of that segment will displayed. And I'm going to show you how to create a segment. And before creating segment, I'll tell you what is the purpose of this segment. Basically, segment is kind of mechanism which will allow us to just add some business logic or add some filters of the condition and retrieve some meaningful information for a future purposes. For example, if you would like to gather some information and send it to the third party system. Okay, so I'll take one use case. I would like to capture all the audience or all the guests who are registered with the third party email account, right? For example, gmail they used, then I would like to capture gmail accounts and process that segment. And finally, by applying or creating that segment, I'll get the entire object, and the object will hold the guest information which are fall under particular filter or category basically. So after retrieving this information, so you need to send it somewhere or process that information somewhere. This is where audience export come into picture. So let me show you how we can create the segment, and then further how we can make a association with the audience export. Let me click on the segment, create segment. I'll say like new segment. Yes, once you create a new segment, a very first screen you will see that is a build and details. In the build section, you see like multiple options are available for selection, and from there you can choose any particular any particular category you can choose and configure the events. The way of configuration is kind of add choose any particular group, and from there choose any particular attribute and put one condition, and just publish this segment. Okay, so there are two ways to deal with the segment. Basically, Sitecore CDP offers one UI. From that UI you can just configure the available options and add some relation between the conditions, and your job is done. In other way, if you are not familiar with the UI and you would like to just add some coding around this, okay, then there is another way to deal with the segment, that is you can create or write your own SQL query, and you can retrieve your or create one segment, and you can finalize the object. So in the first case I'm going to choose deal with guest, and from guest I'm going to choose customer as a customer guest type, and from there I'm going to make a selection for the email, because my intention is to just find out the guest with specific email ID. So here I have added one condition. I would like to check the email, and the operator would be contents. Okay, I'll put like dot yeah, I'll start with star, or anything is fine, dot gmail, like this. So once you click on this, right, yeah, this condition will be auto saved, and then further you can calculate the audience if you would like to test it before publish this segment. In this way you can add n number of conditions and filter out the guest information. So as I said earlier, like there are one more additional way to deal with the segment. I'm going to switch on to the another mode, that is advanced mode. Here you are going to deal with the pure SQL queries. Okay, if I say like yes to switch, this window will allow you to write the SQL script. Very first question you will come into mind, that how to write the script without knowing the data structure or the data table structure of the Sitecore CDP. For that also Sitecore has added some guidelines, and some shared some set of queries that can be leveraged here, and let me show you how those can be utilized in order to write some conditions for creating the segments. So in this case also I'm going to deal with the guest object. Here you see like couple of attributes are listed for making the selection. So whatever attributes you see on the right side, so those are available for the guest. So Sitecore CDP is assuming that you want that information readily available so that you can make use of that. So here you no need to understand the data table structure in detail, but some extent you will get the idea how to make use of that particular field. So upon right click on the particular field, sorry, not right click, but from right side of the particular attribute, you will see like the copy icon. You can copy this, and you can make use in the GraphQL query. But before doing this, I would like to show you some snippets. So if you would like to just deal with the guest entity, then what would be the query for that? Right, so let me expand this and show you. So see, if you would like to just deal with the customer type, and if you would like to deal with the customer entity, then just simply copy this query and paste it here, and you can modify based on your business logic. So here this query tells us that if the you guest is customer, then please consider this for this segment, right? And also if you would like to add another condition, for example, I would like to add one condition for email. Simply just click on copy icon and just go and just check, just paste it. Let me, yeah, so whatever attributes I copied from the right side of this window, that simply come and sit here in the right side. If you would like to add like operator, Okay, along with this email, just write a like operator, and this is kind of SQL standard, query query parameters or the query operators you can make use here. But when it comes to using the object, you must have to take some guidance from the snippet, and then you can write your own SQL query. Once you are done with the query, just simply run this query. Let me remove my own stuff and just make sure like there is no build error. If you're good with the build part of this query, then mark it as a save. And let me go back to the previous screen. Here you see earlier we saw some graphical elements present on the screen, but since I choose the advanced mode, that graphical option went away. So yeah, once you write this one, so very first thing you need to do, that is like make sure like your query and the segment is working. So just to test this particular segment, click on the audience calculate. It will help you with the result, and it will show you how many guests captured with this segment. Meantime, let me go back and start with the other features. Let this calculate. It will take some time. Yeah, so yeah, before we start with other thing, yeah, just take a look at the result from the segment. So this segment is saying that so far we captured 6 records, and the percentage of those customers is 1.37%. And if you would like to see the view sample, then it will give you the list of guests. Okay, you can, if you would like to verify and cross check, then just copy the guest ref and go to the guest page, and there you see one search box to search the guest. So you can search the guest information from there and make sure this result is captured in proper way. This is all for creating the segment. So now I'm going to jump into another new area, that is audience export. Audience export is all about to export the information, live information, frequently, or right after running audience export sync, you can export that information to the other systems. So there the prerequisite is you must have to create a segment and add your own business logic, so that that segment will work on the logic that you have written. And finally you can make a configuration of this segment to the audience report. Let me go to the audience report. Whatever other option you see like audience sinks and decision engines, these are the legacy options. Very soon these options are going to be deprecated, and this will happen probably in the upcoming year, that is 2025. So I'm going directly jumping into the audience export, and let me create one audience export. So while creating the audience export, it will allow you to make selection of 2 types of export. So in this case, I'm going to choose a full export. I'll give a name as a demo export. Yeah, so after clicking on the create export, you will see one new screen where you see multiple options to configure. I'm going to interact with the segment section. In the segment section, upon clicking on add segment, it will allow me to choose the segment which is available in the Sitecore CDP. So earlier I didn't create the segment, but simply I explain the functionality of the segment, and then further I lost the information. But in this case I'm going to choose existing segment. So earlier I created test seg as a segment. I have chosen here. And now coming to the filters. In the filter, there are n number of conditions you can make use of. Here you see, like if you would like to add some additional filters, okay, for example, user is coming from particular region, and we would like to just exclude that user or include that user. That kind of logic you can embed along with the segment basically. So in our case, I'm not going to make use of any condition. I am going to skip that. And coming to the output format, uh, y- yeah, so in the output section, you see like define output. Sitecore CDP will allow us to create your own output format. So there are two options. One option is like you can make use of the Sitecore CDP UI in order to create the format of your report. So first thing I'm going to do, that is name. Okay, name and the attribute. Here in the right side you see attribute value. Okay, this is something that you need to make use from the guest attributes. Okay, in this case I'm going to choose as a first name, and that first name would be available in the guest object. So if you want any additional information around this, then I'll show you how to make use of the help center that Sitecore CDP has already introduced with this product. So in the email also, I'm going to, yeah, okay, for email, let me copy from the data that Sitecore has embedded with this model. So yeah, coming to the data model, so data model will help you to just look into the structure of the data that Sitecore CDP has followed to store the information. So in this case, I want the email as an attribute, and that should be part of my uh, export report basically. So in that case, what I'll do, I'll go to the right side section, and from there let me copy the attribute that uh, that I can put here in the attribute value. I have copied that, I have pasted. It means that whatever report I'm going to generate, so that report will be having these two properties, and the information will be captured using these attributes. For example, like against name, I'm going to read the guest object, and I'm going to use the first name as an attribute and going to put against the name basically. And so pretty similar thing I'm going to do with the email. And against email title, I would like to put the guest actual email. That's all. Okay, so let me save this functionality and go back to the ex export audience export report and see how it works. Yeah, so after choosing some options and after making some configuration with the guest attributes, the final output format looks like this. In our case, I have chosen JSON as a format. So this there are some other format as well. Okay, so CSV format also you can opt in and generate the report. And finally, I am going to set the emails for notification. Okay, so this notification section will help you to just notify the set of users that we are going to put in here. And yeah, let me add one more connections. Like when the export is ready, if you would like to send it back to any legacy systems, you can create your own connections and configure here. So I'm going to cover this connection part later. Okay, but meantime, just keep one thing is in mind that okay, this notification can be configured with n number of users to notify that this export is ready, and this can be used for further processing. Okay, and additionally, you can add some connection also if you'd like to just notify the your legacy system. For example, you are dealing with the email campaign manager, and in that case you want this information on frequently basis, so that email campaign manager will make use of this information and send the notification. right? So in that case, you will add your own connection and make sure like the connection is established properly, and Sitecore CDP is notifying it with the export details. Okay, so upon filling these all details, I'll schedule this. So in the scheduling, you will see some options, right? If you would like to schedule with a custom date, just add some date. And if you would like to just for testing purpose, if you would like to add some nearest date, then you can configure like this. So for now I'm going to configure it for tomorrow. And if you would like to set the scheduler end date, in that case also there are two options. Run forever, it means that it will run for each and every day. Okay, so the frequency of running the export is daily, weekly, and custom. Custom means any date you can specify. Either you can go ahead with the monthly or the quarterly basis like that, and you can run this job. Okay, for now I'm going with the tomorrow's date, and let me schedule it. So you will get a notification that the export is scheduled, and probably tomorrow I'll get a notification saying like export is generated. And upon clicking on the export link, you will be get navigated to the Sitecore CDP or the S3 bucket basically. So Sitecore CDP stores this information in their AWS environment, and they are using the S3 bucket to store this export details basically. So in order to pull the export, we have another set of APIs. Okay, so in the Sitecore documentation, you will find all the set of APIs. If you would like to retrieve the latest export using the REST API, that is doable. You can just pass on the pre-signed URL that you will be receiving from the email. Earlier we just configured email notification section, right? So whatever emails you mentioned there, you will get notified with the export URL, and the export URL will be in the form of pre-signed URL, and you can make use of that for downloading the export, or you can integrate that API to just fetch the latest report always. Okay, in our case what we did is we introduced AWS Lambda for sending the email notification, and we configured SQS queue in order to pull the latest information from the Sitecore CDP export system. So there, whenever we get a webhook notification, we used to run our business logic and make use of the export report for sending the email notification. So in this way we send the notification. There are more than 100 notifications types, and as I mentioned and discussed about one use case, like we created user references preferences, and from there we used to take the consent from the user, and using that information we generated the export report. And based on the users preferences, we used to send the emails. For example, one particular user is listed in the export report, and user has marked one attribute, or just provide the consent for sending the email. In that case, we are just reading that property. If email notification true, then only we are considering that guest to send the notification via email. In that way we managed one of the requirement. Yeah, this is all about export. The yeah, finally, the purpose and the significance of this export functionality or the feature is, if you would like to just export some information and send it over for further processing to the legacy systems, in that case you can create a segment. And using the segment is the prerequisite for creating the audience export. And after creating the audience export, and the as I said, by default Sitecore CDP uses S3 bucket for storing the export report, export file basically, and that file will be in the form of JSON. You can convert it in any type of format also. And finally, that information will be shared with the third party system, and third party system can make use of that information for sending the notification using different channels. Yeah, this is all about the segments and the audience export. There are a couple of other features that Sitecore CDP offers. I'm going to touch upon those features as well here now. Yeah, let me go to the dashboard. Dashboard is the place where you will see the list of reports. Okay, in the left side section, you may take a look and look for particular section, that is summary report, traffic report, segment report, and events report, like that. So I'm not digging much on this because it's all about just making use of the Sitecore CDP features, and this particular section is meant for just downloading the report. So I'm not going to spend much time. You can spend some time and learn about these things. Okay, so next section I am going to um, going to touch upon, that is offers and the offer templates. So far we learned about a guest, how to manage the guest, how to migrate the users into Sitecore CDP, and if you come across any custom information, then how to make association of that custom information with the particular guest. And then further we learned about segment, and the segment is all about adding some filters and some conditions so that we can come up with the meaningful information. And finally we configured that with the audience export, and we schedule that export so that that export will generate the reports, and that can be exported to the other systems as well. And finally there are some other features available. Those cannot be go independently, but in order to make use of those, you must have to go with the personalize or any other personalized engine. Okay, so I'll quickly walk you through how personalized looks like and how we can utilize the CDP if time permits. Okay, let me jump into the offer sections and tell you how to create the offer templates. So this particular feature is available with the Sitecore CDP, and this particular place will allow you to create your own offer template. Upon clicking on the create offer, it will allow you to put some name and description, and you can configure your own attributes. For example, if you want to put some title of the offer, then just make use of any data type. Here in this case I'm going to choose as a string. Another one I'm going to add, that is offer, and in this case also string. In offer I would like to put some percentage, this much percentage you will get if you opt in for the particular product, like that. Okay, so upon creating the offer, yeah, here I need to mention something, otherwise it won't allow me to save it. This Yeah, so I'm done with the offer. Just save. Why it's not all, I think it's already present, that's the reason. I don't know why it's not allowing me to save it, but yeah, usually it allow you to just save your information and proceed from there. But yeah, just take a look at the existing one, and here you see, like, I created one offer template where I have mentioned two attributes, like sign up discount and the offer in percentage, like that. Upon clicking on this, you will land to the particular offer. Okay, in the offer template we learn that how to create the offer, how to configure the attributes for the particular offer template. And coming to the offers, by using using this template you can create your own offer. Here you see, like, I created one test offer. There I have added some additional information, for example name, description, and the status of that offer. And if you would like to schedule it, just click on schedule. And few other options are also available, validate offer against the product catalog and all like that, right? So just create the offer. And for now, just park this somewhere, because Sitecore CDP is not allowing us to schedule it and to socialize to the users. But in order to make use of offers, you must have to go to the personalize. And there you see, like, let me quickly go to the personalize and show you. Yeah, so there you have one option. I'll say, like, inside library you will have the offers and the offer templates. Okay, this feature can be utilized to send the offers to the targeted audience. Okay, coming back to earlier screen, that is Sitecore CDP. I have Yeah, I have covered the offers. I'm going to touch upon developer center feature, where you see, like, one newly launched feature, that is session state. Session state is again pretty similar to this segment. Using the session state, you can come up with the cumulative information. For example, if you would like to collect some information and that is specific to particular event. For example, we have configured one event in the Sitecore application. In one of the page we have one media center, and upon clicking on particular media item, we are sending one event to the Sitecore CDP, and that particular event is captured as a media download, something like this, right? So if you would like to add some filters around it and capture some cumulative information, and if you want to process it, or you want to make use of for future use, then you can go ahead with the session trades and create your own. There also pretty similar thing. You need to follow what we followed it for creating the segment. So here you can start with the coding. So coding in this case, you have one window to write your own JavaScript to just uh, 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 format the output of the report basically. And in the right side section, data will help you to just pull the meaningful attributes which are available against the customer. So here you see, like, if you would like to target any one of the guest and try to see what attributes available for the particular guest, then here you go and search for the particular customer. And for testing purpose, it will help you with the set of attributes that is available against the guest, like that. And if you are willing to explore something more related to this, there is one help center. You can click on this, it will redirect to the official website, and from there you can get some knowledge about the particular feature. Now I'm coming back to the developer center again. And yeah, so let me explain about conditions. Okay, whatever conditions we see in segment, right, there are some predefined section listed. But if you would like to add your own condition pretty similar to the condition we see in the segment or few other areas, then you can just interact with these condition features and create your own condition, name it. And you can add your own business logic in order to apply some logic around that particular condition. So here is pretty similar thing we need to do. Earlier we saw there is one data options available, and you can make use of that in order to just determine or in order to get the particular attribute. And you can write your own business logic. So coming to the third option, that is connections. Earlier we discussed this in the audience export feature, right? So there we see one option available to configure, that is connections. So yeah, let me go back to the connections and tell you, show you how to create the connection. So let me create one connection and yeah, make use in the audience export. So in the connections tab, you have a two options basically. One is Sitecore Connect. By default, Sitecore has integrated Sitecore Connect as a third party integration. So this is readily available for use, but pretty similar configuration you can do with your own legacy or new any email campaign platforms like that. In our case, what we did is we used Elecua for sending the emails. In that case, we created our own extension by choosing the external API. There we put some details around this, and upon clicking on the save, right, there are a couple of steps you need to follow. Basically, you need to authenticate it first, and then you can test that connection, and you can finally save it like that. Okay, so I'm not going to cover each and every step because we are running out of time. So if you would like to create your own connections, then this connection is the place where you can create n number of connections. Now coming back to the Sitecore CDP developer center, there is one more feature is left, that is API keys. Upon clicking on this API keys, you will get the list of the APIs key. You can create n number of APIs and you can share it with your legacy integrations. If you would like to integrate your Sitecore CDP system with the third party CMS platform or any type of application, then you can create n number of API keys, and so that you can differentiate the traffic basically. So this is the purpose of it. For security reason, I am not clicking on the API keys because after clicking on this, the details, sensitive details will get disclosed. So finally, I'm going to show you one setting tab. In the setting tabs, you have some options. Company information, here you find your company information, and along with the company information, there are some managed guest feature. So in this managed guest feature, here you see, like, if you would like to search the particular guest record, then you can enter the reference ID of that guest, and from the left side drop down you can just choose any particular identifier. If you would like to search the record using the ref ID, then just make selection as a ref, and if you would like to make a search using the email identifier, then go ahead with the search like that. And earlier I told you there is way to configure the identifier. Right after this, I am going to touching upon that particular feature, how to create the identifier in the Sitecore CDP basically. So yeah, this is the area where you can search the. Let me just copy guest reference ID and show you how that manage feature works. Let me Yeah, so let me enter the guest reference ID. Here you see, like, after putting this, we will see one result, and after clicking on this particular result or making selection of this particular result, it will allow you to delete it. So we discussed earlier, Sitecore CDP is not allowing it to alter or update the information directly from the CDP, but it allows you to just delete the record from the CDP. So if you want to do some bulk deletes, then you can introduce your own mechanism, or you can write your own API and delete the records. But for now, Sitecore allows you to delete the guest one by one. Okay, this is all about manage guest, and finally I'm going to touching upon that is identity rules. Okay, so this is the place where you can introduce n number of identifier. So for example, earlier we we see that the Sitecore API is also behaving, making use of the identifier. In my earlier example, I make use of email as an identifier, and I was able to retrieve the information from the CDP. Pretty similar way, you can make use of other identifier in other case, right? You can make use of CRM ID, loyalty ID, or few other attributes you can configure as identity rules, and those can be used for retrieving the particular record. So yeah, I will take a pause. I have covered all the features of Sitecore CDP and allow audience to ask the questions if they have any.
Yep. You done with the session or yet
Yes, I
to?
am done with the session.
Okay. Like we can see a lot of questions there, but like lot of questions in the chat. But looking at the time, unfortunately, I think wouldn't be able to take everything. Maybe if possible, we will take a note of those questions and pass it to you, Rajendra, and get it answered on SUG Pune group.